Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today in this tutorial we'll write a Python program to print this number pattern. The shape of this pattern is square and here we want to print number like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. And in this number pattern we have 5 row and 5 column, right? Then how to print these numbers? If you carefully observe this pattern, here you can see in the even number of row, like in 0th row, to get this number we need to add 1 to the previous value. So 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 plus 1 is 4, 4 plus 1 is 5. Here also 11 plus 1 is 12, 12 plus 1 is 13, 13 plus 1 is 14, 14 plus 1 is 15. Here also same, 21 plus 1 22, 22 plus 1 23, 23 plus 1 24, 24 plus 1 25. Then in the odd row we can see to get this number we need to minus 1 from the previous value. 10 minus 1 is 9, 9 minus 1 is 8, 8 minus 1 is 7, 7 minus 1 is 6. Here also 20 minus 1 19, 19 minus 1 18, 18 minus 1 17, 17 minus 1 16. In the even row to get the numbers we need to add 1 to the previous value. In the odd row to get the numbers we need to minus 1 from the previous value. So now we know how to print these numbers. What about these numbers? The numbers in the first column of every row. How to get this number? If you can get this number, you can print this number easily, right? So now the question is how to get this number. Here you can see initially we want to print 1. So our pattern starts with 1. So I'll take a variable, I'll assign value 1 to that, right? So we'll get 1. We can print 1. So we'll get this value. Next, what about this? What is 10? Its previous value is 5. I hope you know how we print the number. We'll first print this number, next this, next this, next this, next this. After that, we'll print this number. This number, this number, this number, this number. Next, we'll print this number, this number, this number, this number, this number, like this, right? So the previous value of this is this number, 5. So if I add 5 to this value 5, then I'll get 10. If I add value 5 to this value 6, then I'll get 11. 15 plus 5, I'll get 20. 16 plus 5, I'll get 21. What is 5 here? 5 is actually number of row or column of this pattern. So to get the first value of every row, I need to add number of row to the previous value. So this is about the pattern. So shape of the pattern and number we want to print. Next, let's write the program. Okay, in the Python file, the first step in number pattern program is we need to ask the user to enter the number of row or number of column he or she want in our output. So for that I'll take a variable and I'll use input function. Here you need to print a message. So number of row. And here I'm using Python 3. And in Python 3 by default this input function will take input as string value. But here number of row is an integer value, that's why I need to use int function to convert that string input to integer, right? Done with the first step. And the next step is we need to use nested for loop. And the first for loop is for row. Here row is the variable name which represents the row number. And in the range function I need to mention how many row we want in our output. Inside this, take another for loop, that is for column. Here col is the variable name which represents the column number. And here also in the range function you need to mention how many columns we want in our output. We want num rows and num columns in our output. Okay, done. And next here we need to use print function to print the number. But here we want to print different numbers in odd row and even row. So first I need to find whether we are printing the number in the even row or odd row. So for that we'll use this condition. If raw modulus 2 is 0, then that is even row. So we want to print number here. So for that, first take a variable and initialize 1, and we need to print that. Use end to print space between the numbers. Then to print remaining numbers, we need to add 1 to the previous value. Because it is the even row, to get the remaining number, we need to add 1 to the previous number. Right? That's what we are doing here. And as I said, after completing the row, to get the next value, that is, here initially we'll take value as 1, so it will print that. Then it will print 2, 3, 4, 5 because of this statement, right? Then we are done with one row. So after that, to get this number, what we need to do? We need to add number of row to the value, right? So we need to write that statement here. Value is equal to value plus num. Outside the second for loop, after completing a row, in the last we need to write this statement. Then here we need to use print function, that is to go to the new line. Then here you need to take else. What is else? Else is for odd row. Here you need to print value space, and here you need to decrement the value to get the current value, right? You need to decrement the previous value to get the current value. So here we are doing that. What is this? After printing the number in one row, it will print number. Then here, to get the first value of next row, we need to add num value to value, the previous value. That's what we are doing here. What is this print function? After printing the values in a row, we need to go to the next line to print the next row, numbers in the next row. For that, we are using this print function. So now we are done. Let's save this and execute this. And here we are getting different pattern, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Here we are getting 11. Why? That is because here first we'll print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At that time, here we used this statement. So when we print value 5, here it will increment value also. After printing 5 here, value becomes value plus 1, that is 6. It will become 6. Next it will come here and it will execute this. 6 plus 5 will get 11. So here next row becomes 1. So it will check whether it is an odd row or even row. So that is odd row. It will print that. So we'll get 11 here. Right? In the output, we got 11 here. We don't want that. That's why we need to include this statement here. Before printing the value, we need to include that statement. Next, let's execute this. 5. And here you can see the correct output, but we need to format the output. Use format function. Save. And 5. And here we can see the correct output. Okay, so what we are doing here, take the input from the user, take a variable and initialize the first value of the pattern. Use nested for loop, check whether we are printing the numbers in the odd row or even row. In the even row, we need to print the value and increment the value by 1 to print the remaining value of the row. And in the odd row, first you need to decrement the value by 1, because previously it was incremented, so we need to decrement the value by 1. Then you need to print the value. After completing the first row or one row, you need to add num value to value to get the first value of next row. Then use print function to print different row in different lines. Okay, so this is about the program. That's it for now, guys. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I will meet you in next class. Till then, take care.